Good morning, everybody. My name is Simon Dando. I'm the Contract Director at Transport for Buckinghamshire, and I work for Ringway Jacobs. For those who don't know what Transport for Buckinghamshire does, it's an integrated contract that provides both blue and white collar services to Buckinghamshire County Council. It's got 235 direct employees, both blue and white collar. And we've been in place since 2009, and the contract's currently extended to 2023. So really I wanted to give you the perspective from a service provider because it's a bit more of a muck and bullets out there. The reality is that the majority of the network will remain unchanged out there for quite some time. And because of that, it's crucial that enabling technologies make sure that we can, if I can get this thing to work, the enabling technologies make better use of the infrastructure that we've got. So I did a bit of research and I thought, okay, what does emerging or enabling technologies actually mean? And I found this definition on the internet. And it was interesting that the enabling technology includes both invention and innovation. And interestingly, when I was speaking to my teenage kids, they looked at enabling technologies as mostly invention. And so when I sort of tracked through what that sort of invention looks like, from the creation of spectacles in the medieval age, all the way down through to the invention of graphene in the last few years, what I realized is actually these are all inventions. And the question really is, are we inventors or actually are we innovators? And I think the reality is we're more innovators. So when then you look at the broader aspects, and again I found this on the internet. Internet's a wonderful thing. I found this on the internet, and it sort of captured in broad sense all the different aspects that seem to be created around the people and things that we operate. And a couple of things stood out that really we as transport providers and transport service providers really try to capture. And whether it's the use of controlled motorways, whether it's service data capture devices, or smart infrastructure, or ITS transport, traffic control, ultimately we're all focused on the end user. And whether it's congestion avoidance, or being able to book car parking spaces, or buses, or whether it's smart ticketing, or journey planning, the reality is that it will revolve around some sort of IT smart infrastructure. Now, probably like yourselves, I have quite a healthy distrust of ICT, and I forgive those who may have an ICT background in the room. But one thing that steps out in England's economic heartland is through collaboration, it needs to be the environment where things get done. And that includes ICT. And so as Ringway Jacobs and as the other service providers, certainly to the wider community, is that ability to be able to use that reach-back arrangements through the service providers to get to people who know how to get these things done is absolutely crucial. So for innovators, forgive highwaying, I've used one of their quotes that they use on one of their innovation documents, is innovation is about people working together to create value by implementing good ideas and new ways of thinking. And often it's overlooked because we're so busy focused on our smartphone or whatever, in my case, my teenage kids are playing with at the time. So we tend not to be inventors, and therefore, because of that, our objectives are not any different. We're still looking to improve visibility, increase speed, maintain contact or communication, better quality. And so, as a service provider, what do we need to look to solve? Clearly there are constraints. I'm very conscious of that. Certainly there are existing commercial arrangements in place between each of the service providers and the different councils. but this should not inhibit sharing best practice. And certainly from the challenges that have been placed in front of me from Buckinghamshire County Council, those are value for money, customer satisfaction, quality and innovation. And those are the key pillars by which we are trying to move the service further forward. So the question is there a backdrop that allows this if you like, development to occur? And the reality is that there is. In fact, actually the DFT have already set this out in their incentive fund requirements through the collaborative requirements. So ultimately, it's very important that we move forward collaboratively to do that. So when we look at collaboration, collaborative working has already been set out in the British Standard, which Ringway Jacobs already has on 2 of its contracts, and we want to bring that understanding to EEH. We want to make sure that we achieve those objectives of value for money, customer satisfaction, quality, and innovation. Equally, that standard drives behaviour, and again, Ringway Jacobs were able to secure BS 55,000, primarily on the back of this. This changed behaviour. This changed our approach in working collaboratively with our partners, and it's crucial that we adopt this if we're to move this any further forward. And finally then, looking at unlocking better value. It's interesting that most people attribute value to price. Of course, I'm going to say that I'm a service provider. But the reality is that actually, value is actually more to do with our ability to reduce waste, to prolong repairs, to ensure that infrastructure, when it's not changing and everything else is changing around it, is still able to cope with the amount of traffic and the type of traffic that we are placing upon it. Certainly within TFB, our whole life cycle planning models coupled with method-based improvements are driving that sort of improvement. Certainly, one thing is absolutely crucial are economies of scale, and EEH will bring those economies of scale. Hopefully this will then offset inflationary pressures that we see in the market. And probably finally, and above all else, is we need to be able to demonstrate that we're succeeding. And the only way from a service provider perspective that we intend to do that is through properly open performance management frameworks where you can see the success that we're undertaking. Thanks very much.